Well, oh, well. I, last night, had the privilege of seeing F1, starring Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, and Carrie Condon, while it's co-written, produced, and directed by Joseph Kosinski of Oblivion, Top Gun Maverick, and Tron Legacy fame. There is a lot of anticipation for this movie. Not only because of the techniques used in Top Gun Maverick, which were revolutionary by the way, being used for F1 racing, but because this is using the F1 brand. So, how is it? Is it good? Is it an expensive mess that really didn't need to be made? Well, it's not the latter. This is a very good movie, if not very derivative. In a similar fashion to Top Gun Maverick, it actually takes a lot of well-known tropes, base plot points, like the old guy coming out of retirement or a washed-up guy teaching a younger guy, and the younger guy played by, oh God, what's his name? Anyway, the guy who plays JP, he does a phenomenal job, by the way, before we go any further. I can't remember his name, but he is so good in this movie. But going back to it, this movie essentially takes a lot of those tropes and somehow makes them refreshing and engaging. The commitment from everyone involved, whether it be from the stunt drivers to the cinematography, editing, even the music by Hans Zimmer, everyone here brings their A game. And it actually leads to a movie that, despite being a horrendously derivative story, is deeply engaging and so fascinating to the point where you just kind of forget about it. Even for me, I forgot how derivative it was until after I left the theater. Once I started thinking about it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, all those plot points are, beat for beat, something that, you should expect. But you don't, because you're so invested in the story, which there is a story here, and it's very, very good. It follows Sonny Hayes, as he is called upon by an old friend, played by Javier Bardem, to replace one of the drivers in his F1 racing team, which is very much on the rocks. They have to essentially win F1 or else the entire team goes defunct. And this breeds tension with the current driver, JP, who is once again played by an actor whose name I cannot pronounce, but he does a phenomenal job at clashing with not Tom Cruise, who does a good job clashing with Brad Pitt's Sonny. And overall, Carrie Condon gives a phenomenal performance. It's paced so well. This movie is 2.5 hours long, and it is paced so well to the point where I never once was like, can we fucking move this along, please? Like, I have places to be. No, I went and I sat down in my seat around 6:30 and left by like 9:10. It's a long movie, but you never really notice. Sure, there's maybe a section midway through where they do a couple races and it's just like, didn't I just watch this? Whatever. But we're not here to talk about the story. We're not. We are not here to discuss the story for this movie. What are we actually here for? I'll tell you what we're here for. We're here for the racing. Because this movie, despite not doing that in-depth like marketing that, a lot of Tom Cruise movies did, which, Joseph Kosinski was in part a part of for Top Gun Maverick, a lot of the stuff he learned on that movie he brought here. You're here for the racing. And the racing here is nothing short of jaw-dropping. Every single race is shot and executed so immersively to the point where I found myself going from sitting back in my seat to hunching forward like, dude, who the fuck's gonna win this race? And no only joke, there are stakes here. There are points in time where we see shit happen in races and it literally leaves you speechless. There's one moment, I will not spoil, but there's a moment that happens in one of these races where it just leaves you breathless because of your investment in the story, investment in the characters, and just investment overall. What this movie does so well is investing you in this world, investing you in the world of F1, investing in the world of these characters, and investing you into the racing. You know, sure, there's a lot of techno jargon that I don't understand, and car speak that I don't get, you know, and lingo that I just don't get. You know, I understand UFC. That's me. But F1, that is a whole other beast. And it gives you enough to where you can understand what's going on. But, it never tries to bog you down with the minutia, you know? I'm glad for that. Because it would have been so easy for them to have another 20, 30 minutes of them literally explaining each and every individual aspect of F1. And I don't think they needed that. They did not need that. And they thankfully don't do that. So overall, I will keep this review very short and simple. The story is very simple. It is very simplistic, but its execution, as well as the investment in all of these characters, and even in the jaw-dropping and groundbreaking racing. Yeah, no, seriously. Ford versus Ferrari, I thought was the best possible race movie, next to Talladega Nights. But this movie has... this is a spectacle. There are so many sequences in this movie that will leave you with your jaw on the floor. And it is executed so brilliantly. The story is simplistic, sure. But the characters are so well acted and even so well written to the point where you just don't care. You just don't care. You get invested, you love the racing, and you want to see these guys win. And yeah, when those tropes that we all know and love get executed, yeah, okay, sure, in many ways you may see it coming, but you're just happy for these guys. You're happy for their wins, you're sad for their losses, and it works. It really works. This movie, like Top Gun Maverick, has very by-the-numbers sort of story beats, but they are executed with such flawless enthusiasm and passion that you just don't fucking care that they're tropish. You just care about the feeling it leaves you, which is a nice, warm feeling. And did I leave this movie with a nice, warm feeling? Yes, I did. I am wearing the shirt inside out. I see that now. Sorry. I, just got out of the shower and threw this thing on and realized I got to make a review. And yeah, this shirt's inside out. So my apologies, dear viewer, if you are watching this and are like, why does that shirt look like that? Anywho, off topic. But yes, I give F1 a 9 out of 10. Like I said, there is a point in the middle where it's like that thought of, didn't I just see this, kind of popped in my mind. And then when I left, I'm like, this isn't really a groundbreaking movie in terms of storytelling. In terms of technology, hell yes. There's sequences here that should just not have been fucking possible, but they did it, and it's executed so well. This is a mighty recommend. I highly recommend you see this movie in IMAX. Nonetheless, I got a chance to see this in IMAX on Tuesday night, and what an experience! So if you're gonna see this movie, I'd say shell out the IMAX money because it is worth seeing it on the biggest screen possible, and that is an IMAX guarantee.